Welcome back. Before going to discuss current affairs questions, I want to inform you that from now, after every video, I will be posting notes, whatever we have discussed in this video, on the Facebook page. The link of this Facebook page I will be giving below. Do check and subscribe the Facebook page for updates. Now come to the discussion. Today we are going to discuss part 3. In this we are going to discuss 10 questions. These 10 questions deals with international relations, governance, polity, environment. So let's start with the questions. Arrange the following sectors according 41st question. In recent times, the National Food Security Act is in news. We all know why it is in news, because of migrant issue, because of food shortage with the public due to lockdown, due to high unemployment rate, etc. is in news. Which of the following statement is or comes under the central pool? First, you should know about the National Food Security Act. It came into force in 2013, right? Okay. It comprises of 3 famous schemes, that is ICDS, Midday Meal Scheme, and Public Distribution System. These 3 schemes comes under the National Food Security Act. This act comes under which ministry? Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Food Distribution, Food and Supplies. So, what is the provisions of this National Food Security Act? It provides 5 kg food grains per person per month for the cost of 3 rupees to 2 rupees 1 rupee per kg for rice, wheat, coarse grains respectively. Rice for 3 rupees, wheat for 2 rupees, and coarse grain for 1 rupee. And to whom these food grains will be given? 75% of the rural population and to the 50% of the urban population. Before this scheme comes, there is one more scheme that is known as a Antodyaya Anna Yojana. Under this, households used to get 35 kg of food grains per month. So this scheme will be intact, will be under this National Food Security Act. So they will be this scheme will be continued, and these households will be given 35 kgs every month. This is also one of the provision. Because this is a huge scheme, there should be a grievance readdressal mechanisms to address any malpractices or any issues. So it will be established at every district and the state. So these are the provisions that you should know. Okay, we know the provisions. Now, who are the beneficiaries? Beneficiaries are priority holders, household. One second is Anna, households of Antodyaya Anna Yojana. These 2 are eligible beneficiaries for under the National Food Security Act 2013. Now you will get doubt that for distributing food grains to 75% of the rural population and 50% of for the urban population, 70%, 75. Okay, you need to have huge quantity of food grains. From where the central government will get it? Central government will buy from the farmers. To how much it will buy? It will buy at food minimum support price, which will announced by the central government, right? I already explained you. Who will announce this minimum minimum support price? By the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs. Who will recommend this? Commission for Agriculture Prices. This will recommend to this and this will announce this. So government will buy for this price, central government, and it will sell these grains, because central government will not distribute to the public, right? It is the state government will distribute. So it will sell to the state government. To how much it will sell? If it is buying for 100 rupees, say MSP is 100 rupees, how much it will sell? More than or less than? Definitely less than. So it should be less than, always less than 100 rupees. This price is known as what? Central issue price. Here the government, after buying from farmers, it's not like okay, they will buy from farmers, immediately they will sell. No, they will store at FCI, Food Corporation of India. Why they will store? To successfully implement the National Food Security Act and other welfare schemes also, because the government will buy a lot of food grains from the farmers at MSP. So here the issue is FCI. See, FCI issue is big. That's why it is facing lot of challenges. That's why Santa Kumar committee has recommended reforms. I don't want to go into this because it takes lot of time now to discuss. Later on, whenever the current affairs comes on Food Corporation of India, definitely I will explain you. So for now, this is enough. Food grain procured by the central government and state government to minimum support price operation. What is central pool? Central pool is what? Meaning of central pool. The pool is here itself definition. It is a food storage of food grains. Food grain procured by, definitely they will buy, and what central government will do? Will store at FCI. Even the state government, after buying it, have to store, right? Not immediately it will distribute among the public. It cannot. First it have to store. So it is correct. It comes under central pool. This word is very much in use. Okay. The food grains maintained for the locations under the public distribution system. It's not location, it's allocations. Food grain maintained for the allocation under the targeted public distribution system. This is also correct. Food grain kept for resources for schemes. It is also correct. So answer is D. Actually, this is a word type question. Though it looks like policy based question, but it is a word. In policy, this is just a word. So you should know what is policy and what are the words mentioned in the policies. Means not, you cannot know everything, but this is very much in use. सेंट्रल पूल से निकल देना, निकल के गरीब लोग बांटना है, बहुत न्यूज़ में है ना ऐसा, इसलिए. सो आंसर इज डी नो. So coming to the 42nd question, which of the following organization releases logistic performance index? Answer is World Bank. All this is wrong. World Bank is right. Why I have asked this question? Because the central government is considering to replace the World Multi-Modal Transport and Goods Act with new national logistic laws. Means if they want to replace this with this, means there is some issue with the logistic sector in India. What is that issues? Definitely you should know, because this is very important for the mains, and this is also very important for mains now, because Food Security Act is very much in use. So it can be important for mains, it can be important for prelims. So what are the issues with the logistics sector in India? If you are making a product, by the time it reaches to the customer, if the product cost to the customer is 100 rupees, take one product, in this 15 rupees, 13 to 15 rupees cost is logistics sector only. Okay, logistics cost will be 10 to 15 rupees. It is in India. If you take the global average, it is 6%, means in global average, according to the global average, it takes just 6 rupees. Okay, in USA it is 8 rupees only. So if it is 8 rupees, out of 100, logistic cost is 8 rupees. So actual product cost is 92 rupees. But here you have to understand one thing. This 100 rupees and 13 to 15 rupees. Here 100 rupees, 8 rupees. Okay, because the logistic cost on the producer is this much, so he will charge this one product as 100 rupees according by calculating his profit. If this becomes 6 rupees, definitely this product will go, cost of this product will come down to 92 or 90 rupees or 94 rupees, like this. So if some product, if he is selling one product, it doesn't make a big change, but if he is selling 1 lakh products, then it makes a lot of change, right? Producer can save a lot of money by reducing logistic cost. What he will do by saving lot of money, he can invest in some other company, he can open some other companies, so that employment will generate and economic will grow, and the consumers also will get products at a cheaper cost, like this. So this is the importance of the logistic. If logistic cost is very very high, then people will buy which is very less. Like example, USA, it will sell for 8 or 92 rupees. People will buy this 92 rupees product. So what happens? Who will buy this 100 rupees? They will not buy. If someone is buying bulk products, they will buy 92 rupees one. So domestic industry will not grow. Imported goods will grow. Keep growing, keep going, keep going. Domestic industry will not grow. So unemployment rate will increase. So economic growth will not grow. GDP will not grow. Okay, so the logistic cost plays a huge role in economic growth. This is just a one issue, that is what? High cost. High cost is one issue. Second one is heavily skewed. Actually, our transportation, the goods transportation, 59% of the goods transported, total goods is transported by roads. Means what? It is heavily skewed towards roads, whereas railways carries only 35% of goods. So the burden of roads are increasing, so traffic will be increasing. Okay, and the transportation time will increase, so again the cost will increase. So multimodal transportation should be there always. So that's why we need new law which encourage multimodal transportation effectively. And port infrastructure constraints, there are some port infrastructure constraints. And fifth one is legal hurdles like land acquisition hurdle. If you want to set up logistic parks, there is land acquisition hurdle. So there are many, and one fifth one is human resource availability is not there. Skilled personnels are not available. So these are the five biggest major challenges that logistics sector is facing. That's why I have asked you this question. Logistic performance index. Answer is A. You can even add low rates of technology adaptation. Automation in logistics process is only in India is in infancy stage. So it should increase, it should go to the mature stage in using automation technology or automatic technology. So what is the benefits that if we improve the logistics sector, what is the benefit? There is a report which says that by 2020, means we already crossed this 2020, but at the time when the report released, it says that by 2020 logistics sector has a potential to earn the revenue of $215 billion. This is a huge amount. That's why government has started many programs like Bharat Mala project, Sagar Mala initiative, dedicated freight corridor project, implementation of GST, relaxation in FDI regulations, and giving the logistics sector infrastructure status, and etc. There are so many steps that government has taken to realize its potential. However, government has not achieved its potential. This is the second question. Come to the 43rd question. Consider the following statements. National Medical Plan Board is under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources is under the Ministry of Ayush. See, these plant boards and plant genetic resources, why I have asked me, this is very much in news because of Ayurveda and COVID-19 treatment. People are working on plants to treat COVID-19. Coming to this, these both are wrong because National Medical Plan Board is under Ministry of Ayush. National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources is under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. And come to the 44th question. Which of the following is or butterfly species? See, already I have said in last video that if anything we have found after many years, like 129, like 132, like 88, then these species will become favorite for the UPSC to ask in the examination, or if they find it for the first time, like this species will become favorite to the UPSC. See the options. If you remember, in the last video I have explained about two butterflies which we have found newly in Arunachal Pradesh. What is that? Striped hair streak and elusive princess. This is the first time we have found in Arunachal Pradesh, that too in Namdampa National Park. So this is of the butterfly, but I have explained you in last video that about keelback. What is this keelback? It is where it is found in Assam. Okay, what is this? It is snake. It is found after 132 years. Okay, what about the another species that I have discussed? Globa andersoni. It is, what is it? It is endangered plant. Where it is found? In Sikkim, in Tista River Valley. It is found after 132 years. So keelback was found after 129. Elusive prince butterfly, first time they have found. Next, strip hair streak, found first time in Arunachal Pradesh in Namdampa. So these 4 species you know now. Now you should know about golden bird wig. It is a butterfly found after 88 years. Okay, this is least concern. And there is a southern bird wing. It is the largest butterfly found in India. 192 mm. Southern bird wing found endemic to Western Ghats. By looking at the southern, you have to think, okay, South India, like that. You have to remember. So answer is 3 here. Butterfly species 3. Remember, in 2020 UPSC has asked which of the following are bird species. Remember, they have asked in 2020. In 2018 also they have asked. In 2019 I guess asked or not, I don't know, but still they may ask again. So you should remember answer is A. Come to the 45th question. Consider the following statements regarding marmots. What is this marmot? It is a word type question. Remember, again word type question. In 2017 UPSC asked about hackathon. In 2018 it has asked about, I guess, InDark. In 2020 it has asked about Texas intermediate word type, and in 2019 also it has asked, I forgot, but every year it has been asking. So you should know word type questions. The outbreak of its bubonic plague in Mongolia is mainly caused by the marmot. Mongolian marmot is endangered. Why I have asked this thing? Though there is an outbreak of bubonic plague in Mongolia, China and Far East Russia, but it may not be important in normal years for UPSC, but it is a bubonic plague, right? That's why I have asked, because already I explained you in past videos about the bubonic plague. Because of this bubonic plague only, Epidemic Act, India has enacted Epidemic Act in 1897. So you should definitely know about bubonic plague. This bubonic plague is caused by the small mammals, right? I have explained this. Which is the small mammal? One of the mammal is marmot. And corona is virus. What about bubonic plague? I have already explained about this. This is bacteria. Plagues are caused by the bacteria. So this is what you should know about this question. Come to the 46th question. Which of the following countries are eliminated both measles and rubella? Maldives, India, Sri Lanka. Which of these? All the above is a question or what? All the above is answer or what? No. It's Maldives and Sri Lanka. Answer is C. India is still struggling. These The infection is caused by virus. This is very severe. It will be very severe. This will be mild. For both of them, vaccines are available. So why India is not able to eliminate? It's not giving vaccines. No, it is giving vaccines under Universal Immunization Program, Mission Indradhanush, Intensified Mission Indradhanush. Here it covers 12 disease vaccines. You should know, you should mug up all these disease names. You should go and Google about Universal Immunization Program. It able to give vaccines for 65% of children below 1 year. That's why in 2014 Mission Indradhanush was launched to cover all the children below 2 years and pregnant women. It covers 7 diseases in all states, and it covers 2 diseases in selected states. What is these 2 diseases? Haemophilus influenza and Japanese encephalitis. These 2 diseases. And intensified Mission Indradhanush, launched in 2017. Its aim is to bring vaccination and immunization to 90% by 2018. So these are the difference between these 2 vaccines. Moreover, vaccines is very much in news because of COVID. So they may ask about the vaccine programs also. So you should be ready to answer it. In every vaccine program, measles is there. So come to the 47th question. Which of the following statements are correct regarding National Skill Development Corporation? It is in not-for-profit public limited company under Companies Act 1957. Correct. Skill India portal is an initiative by National Skill Development Corporation. Correct. Private players hold 51% of the share capital in. Yes, correct. 49 by the Ministry of Skill and Development. 49%. Why I have asked this question? Ministry of Skill and Development has launched ASEAN portal. This is also just one word and technological word. So UPSC may ask, may not ask. 50-50 chances are there. So what is this ASEAN? Atmanirbhar Skill Employer Mapping. Skill Employee and Employer Mapping. What is this objective? What is this objective? To help skilled people find sustainable livelihood opportunities. Livelihood opportunity. See, its aim is to increase the information flow, because it is for skill scheme. You don't think that it is providing skills. It is not providing skills. It is just providing information to the skilled people about their livelihood opportunities. That's it. So come to the 48th question. Consider the following statement regarding FASTag. Everybody knows that FASTag is in use. It is made compulsory now to use FASTag. So definitely UPSC may ask about the FASTag. So let's check the options now. It is electronic toll collection system with reloadable tag features and allows automatic detection of toll. Correct? We know, right? If a car goes near the toll, it will get detected and car will be allowed to pass automatically. It is also one of the step to ease logistics sector. Otherwise, at toll there will be many trucks waiting to move. It causes huge time delay in transportation, and it is operated by National Highway Authority of India. Obviously, roads will come under the National Highway Authority of India, and it uses radio waves to read and capture information stored on the tag instead of electromagnetic waves. See, these two you can say okay. What about this? This is purely technical. Is it electromagnetic waves or radio waves? Is it barcode? In barcode we use for scanning which one, electromagnetic or radio? For barcode we use infrared rays. It is electromagnetic rays. What about this FASTag? Radio waves? Yes, it is radio waves, not electromagnetic waves. So in examination you should not get confused. Before itself you should be very much ready to answer this question. What is the technology name? Radio frequency identification technology we use here. For FASTag collection of tolls using FASTag, there is one National Electronic Toll Collection System. It is developed by whom? National Payment Corporation of India. These things you should know. So here our answer is A. Which of the following drugs is or cleared for using COVID-19? Since COVID-19 erupted, we have been listening by ICMR has asked to use some drugs for COVID-19 treatment. Later on, it has asked not to use the same drugs for the treatment. So, which are those drugs that ICMR has asked for, or the government has given clearance for usage of those drugs? Itolizumab, hydroxychloroquine, ritonavir, tocilizumab. Which of these four they have clear? Definitely you are aspiring to become public servant, and COVID-19 is a pandemic and once in a life pandemic. Then what are the drugs that the government has tried to cure this pandemic infection? It's a very much important that as a public servant we should know. So this may be the potential question also. So answer is D. Government has tried all these things. First it has tried this one, next this one, and declared this is no use, declared this is no use, and it has declared this is also no use. Then this one, then remdesivir, this is also declared no use now. declaring drugs as a treatment and later declaring as no use is not wrong, because in this panic situation we cannot sit and do trials for drugs alone. You should also do trials to cure the disease. So we can only cure the disease by trying different drugs. So come to the 58th question. Consider the following statement. The Constitution provides for the postponement of. See why this question I have asked, because Bihar elections was conducted right in 2020 July. Okay, so many July August, but in oh no, it's October and November, but dates were announced before itself. So in July there was a voice raised for the postponement of elections. So now the question comes, this is a very new topic, okay, maybe it can be they asked in mains also, because these type of topics will come in once in lifetime. Last time it came in 1991. Why it came? Because of assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, and they have postponed also. And even in 2021 this is the same issue. The parties urged to postpone West Bengal election, Tamil Nadu election, Kerala election. So now the question arises whether the election commission has the power to postpone election or not. See, if a government A is elected, tenure starts from January 1st 2020, means its tenure ends on January 1st 2025, right? So after these tenure, within 6 months, means what? Within June 1st 2025, election should be conducted again for this A state assembly, state legislative assembly, within this one. What if it has it has started its tenure on January 1st 2020, but dissolved on June 1st 2024. Okay, after 4.5 years the state dissolved itself for the election's sake. Means within how many months that election commission should conduct elections to the state A? Is it 6 months, or because actual tenure ends on January 1st 2025 and it should be conducted by June 1st 2025, so it can conduct within 12 months? It is 6 months or 12 months? Which one the state election should choose? State election should definitely conduct within 6 months again. It is mandatory. It should not think that tenure will expire on January 1st 2025. So within 6 months, means by June 1st 2025, I can conduct elections. Election Commission of India should not think like this. This is wrong, because if it dissolves on June 1st 2024, it should conduct elections by January 1st 2025, within 6 months. Why it is like this? It is like this because What Article 74 subclass 1 or 85 subclass 1 says? The Constitution defines that the limit between two sessions of the House, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha or Legislative Assembly should not be more than 6 months. So because of this, it should conduct within 6 months. Now the question is, does the Election Commission of India has power to postpone the elections? Yes, it has. Under which article? If the state is under emergency, it can extend by postponing. It can postpone elections for 1 year at a time, and it should conduct within 6 months. I'll give you example. If state A is there, now under the emergency, state emergency, it is under the state emergency, the elections can be, if it is elections can be extended by 1 year, think from 2025 January 1st is tenure extended. Because it is under state emergency, it can be extended at a time till 2026. After on this day, if state emergency was removed, then the state elections can be postponed for next 6 months. After these 6 months, within the 6 months again, the election should be conducted. Why after 1 year these 6 months is postponed? Because the Election Commission should manage everything. So Election Commission of India should manage everything to conduct the elections. It's not easy, right, to conduct elections. It have to plan, it have to do many other things. Within 6 months it will do. Then after that within 6 months it will conduct the elections for the state assembly. This is how it goes. Article 324 also empowers Election Commission of India, gives to Election Commission of India extraordinary power to postpone the elections by just informing the government of its inability to hold poll on time. Now look at the options. Constitution provides for the postponement elections for one year at a time, in addition to a period of 6 months after the emergency is lifted. So it comes under the Article 172 subclass 1. This provision Constitution provides it. In case of early dissolution of Legislative Assembly also, the election should be conducted within 6 months. This is also true. Answer is C. So that's it for today. Thank you. Please do take notes whatever I am explaining, otherwise after me completing 12 months, each month if I take up 100 questions also, there will be 1200 questions. It's not possible to remember all 1200 questions and topics without taking notes, and you won't be having time to look at all these videos again and again. Thank you.